Aloha from Gibson's Marina here in beautiful, supernatural British Columbia, just north of Vancouver. Blessing you on this fine Sunday. As you can see, the sun is out and the temperatures have dropped quite a bit. But I'm managing to stay warm and cozy in my little boat here and really happy to share with you guys today. Thanks for showing up. This morning I'm going to start with it's kind of a gospel song that I wrote. And I wrote this song for all the teachers in the world of spirituality. That would include all the masters, Jesus and all those guys, and all the teachers as well. Because the raw inspiration for this song came from my first Lomi Lomi teacher. I was watching her in action, Susan Painua Floyd, and she just was a giving machine. Just in so much aloha pouring out of her all the time through these long days of classes. And I thought, okay, we got to write a song about this. And the purpose of us being here is to create peace in the world. So sit back and enjoy the song. The first title of it was Bringing Peace into Reality. But then when Patty, my Canadian wife, and her daughter heard the song, her daughter says, no, it has to be called You Are a Star. And that way it became appropriate to sing to everyone who is teaching, flowing aloha into the world, constantly ongoing. You are a star. So if that's you, this song is for you. Enjoy, because you are a star, as we all are. Normally I have a harmonica, but I lost it in the move to Canada. You are a star for everyone, a true bringer of the dawn, helping all find their way, trusting spirit more and more every day. And our souls shine so bright as we give ourselves away, teaching hope for humankind. One heart, one spirit, one mind, and our world is transformed to know God's love without fear. Wisdom grows through loving deeds, bringing peace into reality. Garden of love in our hearts, sharing joy and beauty far and wide. We are free when we feel the love. We are so very much alive, and our world is transformed to know God's love without fear. Wisdom grows through loving deeds, bringing peace into reality. Here's a djembe solo on the album. We got a really cool African solo. Somebody ya. Yeah, just rips it. You are a star for everyone, a true bringer of the dawn, helping all to find their way, trusting spirit more and more every day. And our world is transformed to know God's love without fear. Wisdom grows through our loving deeds, bringing peace into reality, bringing peace into reality. And our world is transformed to know God's love without fear. Wisdom grows through loving deeds, bringing peace into reality, bringing peace into reality, bringing peace into reality. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, we had this great quartet backing us up on that song in the studio. Um, yeah, these four wonderful spirits, beings, souls of color, came in and did their thing on the album. It's just phenomenal. You could find that song on the Great Love album, Aloha Nui, and it's called You Are a Star. I believe it's track number 3. So check it out. Yeah. All right, so how is everybody on this fine Sunday morning here on the west coast of the U.S.? Evening, where John and Penelope are, and all those in Europe that might be listening on YouTube. And I believe it's the middle of the night in Australia, on the other hemisphere. But anyway, we're all one. That's all there is. We are one human spirit evolving through billions of bodies. Mm. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. The way. When the Aramaic, which was a people's language back in Jesus' time, when it was translated into what's known as the Bible and so many other texts, apparently there was a lot of debate over what words to use in the translation. And that's why you have so many different presentations of what Jesus said and, what is actually real about his message. And what it's been distilled to is the way. Yeah, that's what they called, or what he called in Aramaic, his teaching was the way. Now, how does this relate to you and me? Well, good question. Yeah. For me, it means that each one of us have a purpose here. And it's not something that we have to strive for. It's something that was kind of given to us in the bundle when we were born as a soul and into this individual life stream called a lifetime. It's not something we have to earn. You might say we have to discover it, only because we're not looking for it most of the time. But when it comes right down to it, you know, what is the same for everyone in my projection, my point of view, is that the way is just to live life to its fullest. Live life in a way that we understand ourselves better. Live life in a way that we can be kind to ourselves and others. Live life in a way that we don't judge ourselves. Live life in the way that whatever structures try to limit us or confine us as a soul are not real. The soul knows its own freedom. It knows that it's here to play, that it's here to break the rules. It's here to rediscover itself as a being that is not separate from God. And in that light, it is God. It is that part of us that lives forever and is eternal and doesn't relate to time or space. So how does that play into being human and spending a lifetime here? That's a good question, because there's apparently so many people in the world suffering, living and dying, being born, and you know, all the human gamut of actions are taking place. Now, when we identify with that as who we are, we will suffer. Yeah. And yet it seems that all the spiritual teachings today are leading us towards a different identification. And to me, that's called the way. Yeah. And the identification with ourselves as innocent, regardless of what we've been programmed to think, regardless of what religion tells us, how we have to atone for our sins. And, you know, we have all these paybacks to do. That's a way that's not the way. Because it will keep us small. It will keep us judging ourselves, everything we think, everything we've done. The judge is always in place. And we find ourselves feeling so small, so unworthy of all the gifts that have been given here for us to appreciate. Now just imagine this for a moment. Imagine that you were born innocent. You know that. You can look into a baby's eyes and tell that you were born innocent. Everyone is born innocent. It's as if innocence is incarnating into a body. I like to project that it's an angel coming in. And as we grow and mature in the body, we tend to, as we're programmed, we tend to forget that aspect of us, the innocence. From the time we're very small, we're told so many things are wrong. You can't do that. You know, yeah, and so there's nothing wrong with this. This is actually the way that our soul finds itself, is through hearing no and thinking yes. And it gets us into a lot of trouble, I will admit. That's why there's so much infidelity in the world, so many broken hearts, so many shootings. Yeah, it gets in the way for sure of us realizing that part of us that is really not human. No, but you look at the word human. Hu is of God, and then we have man, which is of flesh. So there you go. Hu, man, God in flesh. Yeah. And so all the spiritual paths that I'm witnessing lately are showing the way. They're showing the way of watching our humanness and disengaging from that as our primary identity. You know, some people would call this spiritual bypassing, and yet that's the ego's judgment of the way. Isn't that interesting? Because the ego is our primary identification from the time we're programmed early on in a body. And I notice this. There's no way of getting around that, you know, my awareness shifts constantly from the ego point of view of life. Everything is separate. And and, you know, we have only this life to live. And there's all these moral and ideas that we have to adhere to in order to be accepted by others. But when you look into our history of all the great inventors and all the great artists, all the great masters even, they were not following the ego's agenda. They were not concerned about being accepted by the masses. They were actually here to break out of the mold of what the status quo, the norm was. You know, every inventor, every master. I mean, you can look at how when someone comes along and tells enough truth, we kill them. That's the human experience here on Earth. So that would definitely make people a little shy to tell the truth. And yet today, what's happening in this modern society, which is really, really beautiful, there's a lot of whistleblowers. There's a lot of it. And that came from all the containment and the compression we had during COVID. That's where it climaxed. Whistleblowers before that, they would just lock them up. You wouldn't hear from them. I remember the guy in Canada, I can't remember his name at the moment, who discovered a cure for cancer using cannabis. And he had all these doctors behind him with documented proof of his studies. And he brought it to the Canadian government to have the cannabis made legal. And they locked him up. Yeah. There are countless stories, like I'm telling you, and you know them all, right? So, identification with the way is to realize ourselves in this dream, which the ego, believes to be reality, as a participant in the dream. And so we may ask ourselves, what is my part? What is my unique gift that I can give to the world, to life, that evolves the human soul emotionally? Take a breath. This is so powerful because emotional evolution, I believe, is why we're here. That's why I can feel so many souls wanting into Earth, wanting to come here. It's why the overpopulation, the fast track to evolving the individual and the collective human soul is through emotions. And all the new teachings are about accepting and living the emotion fully. This is part of the way. Observing it, not resisting it, feeling it fully, and allowing it to teach us something. Allowing it to be useful in our evolution, whatever emotion it is. And in that regard, there's no blame or there's no shame for anybody. There's nobody's fault. We learn how not to beat ourselves up for thinking we did something wrong or we said something wrong or we hurt somebody's feelings, right? All of that is part of the dream. And what happens when you wake up from a dream? You're really glad it's a dream because it wasn't real. And that's exactly what's going on here on Earth. Yeah. And I use that metaphor a lot in my counseling, having people realize that they are living a dream here on Earth, and they will wake up. And everybody wakes up when they physically die. It's just part of the package of this whole journey here. It's automatic. Everyone who's had a near-death experience and comes back, they testify for this, to that reality, that they woke up from this dream and they felt their absolute, true, eternal, immortal self, which was not separate from God at all, ever, and at any time, even when they were in a body. They have that realization as they go home to the One. Yeah. So the trick I'm seeing here, if you want to call it that, the way is another terminology for it, is to, in your awareness, in your walk of life, as you view yourself and others, be very clear of who you are in that moment of awareness. Even when you're doing simple tasks, brushing your teeth, washing the dishes, walking to the park, walking the dog, driving the car, making love, studying spirituality, whatever. There's a now moment where you can switch your focus from the doing of human to the being of light within the doing of human. Yeah. Try it. See how many times in a day you can step back, pause, and have this experience of being human. And that's why they call us human beings. But primarily, we are human doings. Yeah. We're running patterns that were taught to us that they work. That's why we run them. We fit into society and our culture and our community because we all run the same patterns. Yeah. But there's a whole reemergence of conscious relationship. And I'm seeing it in so many places. I came across a website the other day that was full of heart, full of charisma about experiencing your emotions fully and allowing your heart just to breathe open and release the toxicity and the emotion as you accept it as part of being human. And I thought that was so lovely. It was such a confirmation of what's happening here on Earth. how the human being is consciously growing into more awareness of the being that is human. Yeah. That's my individual experience, and I'm hearing it and seeing it in others that I work with as well. And so if you're wondering how to experience this more, I had a good chat with my friend John, who's on line here right now watching this broadcast. And this week it dawned on me while I was contemplating what to say to John. And then he called me a day or two later. And because I realized that one of the ways that we can detach ourselves from the trauma drama happening in the body, perhaps it is very personal. Perhaps we are in constant pain or almost constant, just a reoccurring pain, emotional or physical. Because I was contemplating how to make this change in awareness when someone is in a lot of pain. And I had this experience last month with Hope Johnson. I went to visit her, and she said, "Hey, we're going painting tonight." What? Yeah, you want to go to a painting classes? Yeah, sure. I can't remember the last time I picked up a brush or a drawing tool of any kind, because my avenue of expression is with music. But I got a big yes, so I went, and there was about, I don't know, maybe at least a dozen or more people in the class, and a teacher who had a picture of an elf. And this is what we're painting. Everybody had a canvas and a palette, and as she would give instructions, she would bring around these paints, and we would begin our painting, our gnome, our individual gnome. And it reminded me of when I'm writing a song or creating a new lyric, how I dive into the mystery for something that hasn't been before. And to me, that's a great distraction from what's happening in the past and the future, which doesn't exist. It reminded me that when we do something creative, that we are living the way. We are in the moment, and our focus is on discovery of being human through art. And so I was so surprised because I felt so out of touch with painting. I felt so myself was like, what am I doing in this class? I have no idea how to paint an elf. But sure enough, oh my gosh, I wish I could put it on screen for you. It came out pretty doggone good. As I allowed the being who knows how to do everything into the humanness and focusing so articulately on which brush, which paint, how much to use, which color to blend, etc. And then how to put highlights in at the end, right? Came out phenomenal. So I said to John, hey, draw, paint, do something so creative that it takes your mind on a journey in the now moment. So I offer you that. This is why we dance, to let go as if no one's watching. And, people who are singers, this is also why they sing. And chanters, this is why they chant, for sure. I often like to join the David Pramal and Nitin um, world gatherings on Saturday. And those are the same highs when we're chanting the Gayatri mantra. There's hundreds of us in the world connecting hearts and chanting that mantra. It brings us into the present moment of being spirit in a body. So to me, that's the focus, that all spiritual paths that are very conscious of knowing God personally, living here, are on. Yeah. So I offer that to you. Do something creative today. Yeah. Cooking is a great creative art form. And cleaning can be the same. That's a big one, huh? We think of cleaning as such a drudgery. Well, I know some people. There's this woman who cleans all these multi-million-dollar yachts. Jennifer, she is amazing cleaner. And I just see how much she enjoys her work. She says she's been doing it 25 years right here in the harbor. Give you a different point of view of cleaning. But it makes her high. Yeah. So I ask you, and I challenge you, to find something very creative to do every day for as long as you can, bringing yourself into that awareness that you are a being, an eternal, immortal being that is having a human experience. And that whatever's going on in the world, which is a dream, becomes less important or even unimportant to you as you create something from spirit and bring it into the world. So what is your unique way? What is your unique gift? What is it that you can share with your friends and family and community that is uniquely yours? It could be anything. Be very careful not to judge the answers that come up. Be very careful not to judge yourself in any way, shape, or form about anything that you choose, or think, or do, or say, because it's all just a dream. And it is forgiven instantly by our benevolent Creator, our Father. In fact, Spirit doesn't even see anything to be forgiven. And that's the other thing I wanted to speak about today. That when we come into this idea, excuse me, this is peace, by the way. This is my chosen oil for this morning. I wanted to bring peace to you guys in this way. Water needs to go down the right tube. Yeah. So let's talk about forgiveness. Because I've been teaching Ho'oponopono for many years, all over the world, and running circles. By the way, if any of you have any comments, please put them in the chat. Those of you who are on Zoom. Yeah, I appreciate that. I would like to see any comments you might have. Or questions. I love questions. Now, what's come to mind for me this week is that as we evolve emotionally, spiritually, personally, that we keep coming up to another level of understanding the mystery. It's almost as if you imagine yourself like going through the Panama Canal, and your boat on the low end, it goes into this chamber on water, right? They close the chamber, and then they fill the chamber with water, so it lifts the boat higher. Then they open the door and you go into the next chamber. They close the door, they fill it with water, and the chamber raises the boat up. And then they open the door to the next. You go into the next chamber. They close the door, they fill it with water, and you go up. It seems to me that evolving spiritually, physically, personally, emotionally, primarily, is just like going through the locks. Because I noticed how for years, decades, I've been teaching Ho'oponopono. And the reason I've been teaching it is because I found so many people misinterpreting how to have it be really effective for them. Yeah. Because everybody is kind of stuck on this idea that the way we were raised to think about forgiveness. And so there have been some great Hawaiian masters that have helped us, like Morna Nalamaku Simeona and Dr. E. Haleakala Hugh Lin. They taught how you can erase memories, trauma, and regain your original innocence that way through forgiveness. And then I went on to study this last year with A Course in Miracles and found an entirely different lens to look through in that regard. And it was just as if I was being lifted into another lock of understanding, a much wider, all-encompassing understanding. And where does that come from? I had to ask myself, well, it comes from God. Because I have trained myself to undo a lot of the programming that I had through various religious and societal studies, to connect with a benevolent, loving creator that has no capacity to judge me. A creator that is aware that this life on earth is for the evolution of the human soul emotionally. And so there will be lots of challenges. There will be lots of what we call accidents. There'll be lots of trauma and drama and challenges, as well as exaltations and blessings. Balance, yeah. And so I project that my creator, our creator, I accept this for all of us, has no capacity to judge at all. That we are all seen as purely innocent, and that we've never been separate from God. That we're still, to this moment, not separate, even though we're in a body and it appears that way. So when I tune into that on a very deep level, and I rise up into another lock, wanting to be more like our Creator, wanting to actually have my thought processes more like the masters who did not judge, because they understood that the human is going to apparently make a lot of mistakes in its raising of itself. So it dawned on me that the way, in the pure way that Jesus was teaching, and so many others, there is no judgment at all. Because there's only the view that we are all equally innocent children of a benevolent Creator who only desires, if there is such a thing, our happiness. And that's why we were given all of this to play in, to evolve ourselves, to share with each other and discover that the Spirit is living behind your eyes as well as mine. That's why the eyes are called the windows of the soul. Yeah, because you can actually look through the pupil of someone's eyes and open your heart and feel the oneness that we all share. Isn't that amazing? I just love that. Yeah. And some systems, because we have two eyes and focus, when we want to focus in a singular way on having a soul gazing experience with someone from the heart, that we would look into their left eye and go into the pupil to find the night sky, to find our Father, God, to find the universe, to find infinity living inside this human that is standing in front of us. Isn't that amazing? I just love that. And every time I have this experience, I feel that it's reciprocal, even if the person lives on a different level of consciousness. Because apparently, in my projection, God is here to discover, rediscover itself through the many as the one. And when you walk in the world in this way, you'll see only angels in bodies. Even the ones who we would deem doing wrong. Yeah, all of them. Innocent. Playing their role in the political structure of the world as viewed through separate eyes, separation, thinking. There is no oneness in greed. There's no oneness in anything that hurts. It's really, one of my teachers says, hey, if it hurts, it's not of God. No matter what it looks like. If it hurts, it's not of God. Everything that is permanent, that doesn't change, is what A Course in Miracles teaches, is the eternal life force that drives this whole reality. It's behind it. So, once again, I bring it back to, what is the way for you? What is your specific way where you can live in the moment more consistently every day? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah. Become a happy learner as your own teacher, as your higher self can show you the way every moment that you give her or it, whatever, attention. Let your higher self show you the way. I'm starting to sound like Wayne Dyer. Oh, God bless him. Oh, I'm just contemplating all the wonderful teachers that I have had. And that's why I wrote that song. You are a star for everyone, a true bringer of the dawn, helping all to find their way, trusting Spirit more and more every day. And our souls shine so bright, teaching hope for humankind. One heart, one being, one mind. And our world is transformed to know God's love without fear. Wisdom grows through loving deeds, bringing peace into reality. Let's take a deep breath and let's have an experience. So close your eyes if you would, please, and allow yourself to go vertical, which means open your crown chakra and breathe in golden white light into your body. Breathe in your being. Breathe in God. Let the little tiny sparks of golden adamantine particles come in on every inhale and send them to the part of your body that needs them the most. Or let them just overflow in your heart. Just feel how much peace is in this now moment as you focus on the light eternal that you are, that we are, that exists for us to breathe in every moment of this life. And now let's send up a prayer of gratitude through the Spirit channel. Father God, Father Sky, Mother Earth, thank you for your blessing. Thank you for this life and all that it brings. Thank you for all the challenges as well as the blessings. Thank you for the ability to get to know you as us, as me. To know that we are not separate. We've never been separate. The illusion of separation can be useful, but never real. Thank you for this next breath. Thank you for all those in our life that challenge us. Thank you for the ability to see through the triggers that we're having a human experience, an emotional human experience that belongs only to us. It's not about them. Thank you for the knowing that we do not require to be liked by anyone, because we are whole. We are innocent, and we are free beings, born in Christ, in the light of creation, to experience this world. And remember, remember, bring together all the parts, remember of us that is beyond the body and in the body. Thank you for life itself. We love you. I love you. And may this blessing that I'm feeling right now, in this present moment, ripple into this world and touch everyone in the entire world with Aloha Nui, great love, from Kealohi, the God that birthed us all into bodies. This experience. And join with me now in sending this prayer off by saying, and so it is. And it is so. And just feel yourself as a lighthouse in this moment. You may feel some tingling or just an expansion of love in your aura. Well, this is the way for me, the way to share the knowledge I've come upon and ripple Aloha Nui into the world.